This has been an exciting end of the week with Bitcoin just a 0.4% off of all-time highs. And as you guys have known on this channel, we've stayed bullish within this range, even though it's been extremely choppy. We've identified levels which we were looking for, and we have finally gotten past the massive liquidity zone down here. It doesn't mean we're just going to blast off from here. Probably going to be looking for a pullback. I know it's boring. I know we have to pull back every time. I hate it as much as you do at this point, but this is literally the process of trading and investing. Not everyone gets to win so easily. Some people are going to take profit here, pull back, and then I suspect we're going to see a massive move up with Bitcoin in the coming weeks. Of course, nothing is 100%, so there are other scenarios where we keep ranging. But as of right now, this has been a very strong leg to the upside, which indicates to me that we have started a possible new move towards the upside. However, the pullback would take us down to about 114 at the most deepest pullback, and if things were a little bit more bullish, probably to around 117 before we start that new leg towards the upside. The good news is the alts were actually pushing up with Bitcoin on this move instead of bleeding, even though Bitcoin dominance was heading towards the upside. As you guys can see, Bitcoin dominance has been moving towards the upside, not so much, but I still expect us to at least hit 61 to 62% as Bitcoin finally starts that last leg of the cycle, the most aggressive one towards the upside, towards 130, 50, possibly even 170K as we get more bullish. But I need to highlight these price targets are not for adding, they're for taking profits. So the time for adding was ages ago. We're in that stage of the cycle where you need to secure your wins. So as you see people call for higher and higher targets, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be securing profits throughout this range. For me, the diminishing returns right now are too high, meaning the higher we go, the less profits there are to be realized. Whereas if I take the money now and then we get a crash, the profits I'll be able to realize by reinvesting my cash is a lot higher. So that's how I'm looking to play this game, but I'm very excited. I don't know if you guys can tell. We are finally getting some movement, some volatility, as it's been very dry in the past few months. If we take a look at Ethereum, we talked about this liquidity zone down here. We came down, grabbed it, back into the range, really good. Again, another dip down towards 4.2, and then we continue this move higher, similar to Bitcoin. Wouldn't be surprised to see that, and finally crack that 5K resistance that we've tested multiple times throughout the past couple of years. So this is probably the most exciting part of the cycle, and we're still waiting for the breakouts on Bitcoin. Ethereum is the most exciting one because once we crack the all-time high, it really opens the possibility for alts to start running heavily as people get more bullish on alts when they see the second largest asset in the crypto space is actually breaking all-time highs, which makes them more bullish towards the higher risk coins in the space, which are in the lower ranks. Now looking at the AI category, you guys can see we have broken this downtrend. We didn't get as low as 40 billion, which is great to see. Another breakout here, but as long as we stay in this range, it's probably going to be more chop, and the way you play this game is by buying low and selling highs. So anything up here is probably just a hold until we break out of the range and actually push up higher. Anything down here is a buy for me, and I'll be selling as we break out much higher than we currently are. I think this is the consolidation, the accumulation, whatever you want to call it, phase before we actually rocket up higher with people getting more bullish on AI as we head towards the end of the year. And you guys know the AI leader of the space, Tau, and currently Tau is still on that lower side of the range. You guys can see we've tested that 298. If we do break this support to the downside, then expect 240, 250 towards the downside. However, if we hold this resistance, or I should say support, breakout higher, then obviously we can see a possible potential breakout above the resistance, which is about 460 to target $600 on Tau. Now, like I said, Tau is the #1 AI project, currently valued at 3 billion. Wouldn't be surprised to see this sitting at about 30 to 50 billion by the end of the cycle. So that's going to take up a lot of the AI index along with it, as Tau makes up around 8 to 7% of the total market cap for AI. Now moving on to the meme coins, you guys can see we've got a similar setup to AI where we have a consolidation phase on memes, which is great to see. We got a bounce off support, and now looking to do the same thing. We're looking on AIs to break this top of 80 to 90 billion, and 100% we're going to see resistance on 100 billion as people sell off and potentially give us that move towards the upside, sell off down to about 87, 85, nice pullback, and then move on higher. This is going to move extremely aggressively as meme coins are extremely volatile. You guys can see the last time we had a nice move, we moved up 93%. So, if we take the move up to 100, nope, that's not even 100%. So 100% is way up there at 150 billion. Of course, there's going to be diminishing returns, but as we get towards the end, things get crazy. And finally, looking at total DeFi, has bounced as well off of the 26th September low. We had a nice 20% move towards the upside. This chart is a little bit harder to read, but it looks like we're basing out at the 120 billion and topping out at 144. So a little bit of a range here as well. Like I said, DeFi, extremely bullish on DeFi, and we weren't even able to get down to the 110 billion zone. So If we do happen to fail on this breakout, I'm targeting that area down there. But so far, we are looking bullish. Everything's looking pretty great. And I would prefer to see a breakout than a breakdown. So if we do break out, the target is 180 billion for DeFi, a nice 60% move. This is the biggest one out of the three. So this is going to move a little bit slower or more controlled. There's less volatility because it takes more money to push it up. Now, the second AI leader in this space is probably Virtuals. And you can see this wedge compressing. So I adjusted the wedge. We were previously sitting at a wedge like this, potentially saying this is the breakout, retest, and push up. But since we didn't break out, we've readjusted the wedge, and we're hoping that this is the breakout we're looking for, because they have a redesign of the Genesis Launchpad, and hopefully that's going to take us a little bit higher with the news and break out of this. So that's what we're expecting on the 10th of October. So the Virtuals ecosystem could see a boost there. Keep your eyes on that. And let's move on to Litecoin, one of my favorite coins of this cycle. I think the easiest one to see gains. You guys can see the breakout here is confirmed, probably going to get a retest down to around 112, and that's going to be a bid zone. Initially, I told my Telegram group we are waiting for about 97 to 104. Well, we tapped 101, and that was the entry. Obviously, $100 was going to be strong resistance. There you go, and we got the breakout. So now we are looking for a retest and a push up, and this is going to take us much, much higher. I think we're going to tap $1,000 at least at the end of the cycle. So very bullish on Litecoin, very easy to play. It requires patience because it is a slow mover, but when it moves fast. And finally, let's take a look at Total 3. And Total 3 managed to push up again, make a new all-time high. You guys can see we cracked it before, and it's looking good. It's looking really good. It does raise some red flags, though, because we have to keep in mind that if we do get a pullback, we have to watch out for that. It's a little bit tricky to chart this, though, but the way I would chart it is simply put a trend line there and say, okay, you know, we have a little bit of a trend line. It's not confirmed because we don't have enough touches, but it's what we're working with. Otherwise, we can simply pull from here and use that trend line. I do like that a little bit better. So we're working with this trend line right now, and we can see that, okay, we have resistance at 101.7. If we do fall below, let's call it 1.08, then we're looking for a retrace down to this area right here, which could get really ugly for the altcoins. So keep that in mind. There is a little bit of a issue with everyone expecting Q4 to be bullish. So that's a consensus trade, and you guys know how I feel about those. If everyone's expecting the same thing, it's most likely not going to happen, and that's what I'm seeing on the timeline right now. So I'm a bit wary right now. So not much we can do but wait and see what happens with the altcoin space, as things are getting bullish right now, but they can change just as easily in a week from now if prices pull back. So we have to watch out and see what happens, as this could be a bull trap as well. But overall, if things stay bullish and continue to show us bullish signals, I will continue to be bullish towards the end of the year. And I really want to see us break out of this resistance to show me some conviction behind this push, instead of simply hitting resistance, pulling back, hitting resistance, pulling back. Even though that's good, combined with the sentiment that everyone's expecting a Q4 bullishness, it's getting me a little bit weary of what might go down towards the end of the month. So let's see what happens. October should be a good month. November should be a better month. And let's see if that actually pulls through, because even though we have seasonality on our side, things don't have to repeat like they have in the past. But that is the update for today. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again on Monday.